A lot of clinics are talking about GLP-1s and peptides right now, but few are really slowing down to ask whether those products are being sourced and marketed in a way that actually makes sense. Because this is not just about what is trending. It's about whether the source is credible, whether the product is being described accurately, and whether your clinic can actually support the language that it's using in your marketing. So in this video, I want to walk you through the broad framework I would want med spas to think about when it comes to peptides, GLP-1 related products, sourcing, and the claims being made around them. Now, before I get into it, this video is for educational purposes only. It does not give legal advice for your exact situation and is not a vendor recommendation list. My goal here is to help you think through this broadly so you can review your own sourcing, your own marketing, and your own workflow more carefully. It matters because these products are getting a lot of attention, a lot of demand, and a lot of marketing. And when that happens, clinics start moving faster than their processes. They see what is trending, they see what is selling, they see what other providers are posting, and sometimes the momentum gets ahead, whether the source is credible, whether the product status is clear, and whether the claims being made are actually supportable. And the biggest thing I want to clear up today is this: just because a product is popular does not mean it can be sourced casually or marketed loosely. So first, let's talk about sourcing. One of the biggest mistakes clinics make in a fast-moving market is acting like demand somehow makes the source legitimate. It does not. A hot product is not a compliant product. And if your sourcing already feels hard to defend, that is your first sign to slow down. Because when you're talking about peptides or GLP-1 related products, the source matters. Where is it coming from? Is it actually coming from a credible pharmacy source? Or is it coming from somewhere that already creates questions before you ever get to marketing? This is exactly why I tell providers not to let trend drive their sourcing decisions. Because once you start getting into products that come from sketchy channels, social media messages, unverified online sellers, or things labeled in ways that already raise concern, like another language that is not English, that is no longer just a marketing issue. That is a sourcing issue. And if the source is weak, the rest of the process is standing on shaky ground. And once the source gets fuzzy, the next problem usually shows up in the way the clinic starts talking about the product. This is the part I really want clinics to hear. Offering a product and reasonably marketing a product are not the same thing. Just because a clinic is offering something does not mean the clinic can describe that product however it wants. And this is where people start getting too casual. They market products as if they're FDA approved when they are not. They imply a product is basically the same as an approved drug, when that is not something they should be implying. Or they make claims that sound clean and exciting in marketing, but are not actually supported in a way that the clinic can stand behind. This is where the risk builds fast, because the goal of marketing is not just to get attention, it still has to match reality. So if the product is not FDA approved, the clinic shouldn't be talking about it as if it is. If a product is compounded, the clinic should be careful not to market it as though it is simply the same thing as an FDA approved branded medication. And if the clinic is making health-related claims, those claims should not outrun what the clinic can actually support. This is such an important distinction, because in the market, people start simplifying things for sales before they have really slowed down whether the language itself is supportable. Let me give you a simple example. A clinic sees demand rising around peptides for GLP-1. They start offering something quickly. They put it on social media, they put it on their website, they use broad language that sounds exciting and easy for an audience to understand. But they have not really slowed down to ask, what exactly is this product? What is the actual status? What are we allowed to say about it? And does our language go further than we can clearly support? This is where clinics get themselves in trouble. And not because they meant to mislead anyone, but because they move faster than their own clarity. And this leads to what I think is the most practical question in this whole conversation. If the source, the status, or the claims are fuzzy, should the clinic really be moving that fast? This is the part I want people to leave with. Not every peptide conversation is the same. Not every GLP-1 product has the same status. And not every pharmacy relationship is the same. And not every product should be marketed using the same language. So if your clinic cannot answer basic questions about the product, that is a sign to slow down. What exactly is it? Where did it come from? What is its actual status? What can we responsibly say about it? And does our marketing language match reality? Because if those answers are blurry, clinics should not keep pushing forward, like the process is already clear. This is how people end up with a workflow that makes sense in their head, but not on paper, and not in marketing, and not under scrutiny. And that is avoidable. So if you want a simple way to review this in your clinic, I would start with these questions. Where is the product actually coming from? Is this a credible pharmacy source? Or is this sourcing already a red flag? What is the actual status of this product? Are we marketing it as though it's FDA approved when it's not? Do we have support for the claims that we are making? And if someone asked us to clearly explain this product today, could we do it without overreaching? Those questions alone can expose a lot. They can show where your process is clear, they can show where your marketing has gotten ahead of your support, and they can show where your clinic might need to pause and tighten things up. Because at the end of the day, the question is not whether patients want these products, the question is whether your source is credible, your workflow makes sense, and your marketing language is actually supportable. And if those three things are not clear, the clinic is moving too fast. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this: do not source or market peptides and GLP-1 related products faster than your clinic can actually understand or support them. Make sure the source is credible. Make sure that the status is clear, and make sure that the language you're using actually matches reality. If you want help reviewing your pharmacy sourcing, your workflow, and the way your clinic is talking about these products from a compliance standpoint, that is exactly the kind of support we help practices with. You can connect with us through the link below.